Hello and welcome to the season that was, brought to you by AAMI, Riley Beveridge and Kane Corns with you. And today we are looking back at Sydney's 2024 campaign. The Swans obviously making the grand final and going on to lose to the Lions. But Kane, there were plenty of positives this season for Sydney, most notably probably their brand of football. When they won the turnover battle, they were 18-0 this year, and they play a sustainable brand that's going to lead them to being successful for a long time.
Yeah, you would think so. And the demographic of their list is pretty strong as well. They got a number of highly talented young players. They did so much right this year. They're the best team in the home and away season, clearly, emphatically beat Port Adelaide in that prelim final at home. And they did play some really strong football. The problem for them is their grand final record under the coach, John Longmire, and whether the mental demons of 2022 and 2024 will still be there as they start to rebuild through the pre-season and understand there's a long way to go for them to get back into the exact same position.
In terms of that big issue now, they've lost 4 straight grand finals under John Longmire. 3 of those 4 have been by more than 10 goals. How hard is it for a side to head back into pre-season in just a couple of weeks' time and overcome those mental demons?
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, because you just think there's so much work that's got to get yourself back into that position once again, which is clearly not guaranteed with everyone and the moves that they're making through this trade period, trying to be better. So it's a challenge mentally for them, one that I thought they would have coped with much better after the experience of 2022, dealing with that in grand final week and the occasion of the day. But it couldn't have gone any worse for them. Like, the game was really over at halftime again, and there was no coming back. So it was embarrassing. So it's how much you take out of the really good stuff the majority of the year and how much you weigh into what's happened on grand final day. And I mean, he's out of contract as well next year. So with that also becomes an extra level of pressure considering how long the coach has been there for.
Their moment of the season, clearly that qualifying final victory over the Giants against their arch rivals, their local rivals, 28 points down at one stage, trailed at every break apart from the final score. This is their win of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I wonder how the Giants are feeling after coughing up huge leads to both of the grand final teams. That'd be flat as well, so there's a different level for them. But yeah, I mean, that was extraordinary, but not for the first time they came back for the year. I mean, how many comebacks did Sydney have after starting so slowly? So there's another area that they can really look to address in the off-season, and whether that's game style or their preparation as to why they start so slowly and get themselves into those positions. Happened on grand final day, and they weren't able to get themselves back in. But that was a great game of footy. It was a cracking game of football, and probably, as you said, the highlight of the year.
Their season star, Isaac Heaney, a breakout year, moved into the midfield on a full-time basis, was fantastic all the way through the season. They're relying on these 3, though, aren't they, in terms of Isaac Heaney, Chad Warner and Errol Goulden. When those 3 play well, they tend to win, but when they don't, that's when they've struggled.
Yeah, and that happened on grand final day, didn't it? He'd be really disappointed with his grand final performance. Now, they would say injury, but I'm not sure that's an excuse that you give him again, and his record in grand final is starting to be an issue. But apart from that, he was the hottest player in football all year and just loved the season that he had. The other 2 are stars and still really young and still somewhat finding their way in terms of the consistency that is needed at the level. But they were huge. But they got some good players. They got good players all over the park. They got good role players. They're well led. So I suspect there's not going to be a significant drop-off, but we won't be able to judge them until the business end once again.
Do you have a grade for Sydney's season?
Yeah, I think A-. I think, clearly they've been the best side all year, and you take a few points off the disaster that was grand final day.
All right, stick around on AFL.com.au as we wrap up every club season on the season that was.